Hi, guys, I'm back. This is part two of the first podcast that I did, saying no is okay. So today we're going to talk about saying no is okay, and your yes should be your yes, and your no should be your no. So I'm super excited. I did better with the sugar in my coffee today, but I did put a little bit of whipped cream and a little bit of cinnamon and then Splenda. That's so funny. But it's so good. It's nice and warm. So I hope you have your coffee so we can have coffee together and talk. So what I want to talk to you today about is sometimes, as I said before, we're so afraid to say no. And saying no, it's okay. But also your yes should be your yes. So I don't understand why it's so hard for people to make decisions in their life. So that was my thought for today. I kept saying, why is it so hard for people to make decisions in their life? Well, guess what? I have an experience. Not too long ago, I had an event to go to, and I was feeling really bad. I actually had high blood pressure that day, and I said, oh my gosh, I've been dealing with low blood pressure for a while, and now today I have high blood pressure. And I think it was just the excitement of trying to make it to this event, and it was raining. And I'm a person of my word. I feel that if I tell you I'm going to be there, I'm going to do everything possible to get there. But truly, it just wasn't a way for me to get there. And I kept telling myself, Judy, you really can't make it. But then another part of me is like, you really can. You really can do this. So it was like an internal fight within myself. So I did everything possible. I got dressed. I washed my hair. I blow dried it really fast in 1 hour. I washed it, blow dried. I did makeup. Girls, you know how that goes. As the time got closer and closer, I started to get real bad pain in the back of my neck. So I took my blood pressure and it was extremely high. And I said, no, I really can't do this. And I am a woman of my word, but I need to be careful with my health. And I sent a text and I said, listen, I am so sorry. I won't be able to make it to the event because, I'm really not feeling well. And you know what? My friends, they understood. They understood that, Judy did everything possible to get there. I didn't have to prove myself, ending up going somewhere in the rain, 45 minutes from my house. Anything could have happened. I could have gotten worse, and I have to be very mindful of my health. So I'm glad that I did the right decision, and I was very honest to the people, and I said, I love you, but I can't make it. And they understood, and guess what? Everything was okay. And I was thinking about that experience that I had, and I said, man, I have to share this with my friends because I know there's a lot of you out there that do that. You go out of your way. And it's okay to be responsible, but you have to be very mindful with your health, with your family, your responsibilities. And if you can, you can. And if you can't, you just can't. You do it another day. It's okay. So I was talking with some friends, sometimes, women, we get together and gentlemen as well. And we conversate, a bunch of parents. We were talking about certain things that we say yes to our kids sometimes and we say no to the kids sometimes. And I was telling them when my kids were growing up, I am a single parent. There was times that I had to say no. And it wasn't easy, but you know what? It was the right thing to do. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. But when I say you should say no is no and your yes is your yes, this is a way of you learning how to set limits with everybody. It's not only your children. It's with everyone. We talked about it in the last podcast where sometimes you have to say no to your boss. Well, sometimes you have to say no to yourself. And sometimes you have to say you gave your word, so you got to think about that. Your yes is your yes and your no is your no. Let me give you an example. You can't tell somebody, I'm going to be there at 7 o'clock. And then you turn around and you say, well, that person is a good friend of mine. They're going to understand. And I don't need to be there at 7. I can be there at 7:30. We have to be respectful to other people's time. We have to be respectful that they have a schedule on the event that they created. So if you can't make it at 7, don't say you're going to be there at 7 when you're not going to be there at 7. Let's be respectful to other people, because that's not cool at all, And there's times that things will happen, you got in an accident, God forbid, or you got an important phone call at the last minute and someone wanted you to pray with them, or someone needed advice, or you needed information for a job that you had to do, etc. The thing is that if it's possible for you to be there at 7, should I say 6:50, then do it that way, because that just shows your character and who you are. That's important. And as I'm conversating with my friends and I'm telling them, let's talk about a little bit about discipline with your kids. When your yes is your yes and your no is your no. If you told your child, I want you here at 12, they should be walking in the door before 11:55. Not at 12:05. 11:55, because that just shows you how much they respected what you said. But you can't tell your kid, be home at 12, and they show up at 12:30, and you're like, well, I didn't like that you got home at 12:30, but I'll let it slide this time. No, you can't do that. Listen, I was a kid too, and if my mother told me 12, believe me, I was there at 11:50, because I knew that Miss Doris, when she said 12, she meant 11:50. So I knew that was a boundary that I could not break with my mother. That if she said at a certain time, and sometimes we're afraid to tell our kids no, we're afraid to tell our kids, that's not acceptable, but you can't live that way. Remember, you're helping them create that character of responsibility, of integrity, of honesty, of being an honorable person. So if you don't start setting those goals in their life now as children, you're creating the monster tomorrow that you're not going to like. You're creating the monster that is always going to be late to work. They're not going to be responsible with their own relationships. They're not even going to be responsible with the relationship they have with God. Because remember, we're molding them for tomorrow. And believe it or not, that is our responsibility, to mold them to be the better person tomorrow. So when you tell your kid, no, it's not acceptable, don't go back on your word. I remember my son had a nurse. Her name was Miss Rita. And Miss Rita would always tell me, don't you promise your child a beating if you're not ready to spank that bottom. If you're not ready to spank that bottom, don't promise them a beating. And I didn't understand what she meant. As my children got older, I understood. You can't tell a kid, if you walk out that door, when I told you not to walk out the door, you're going to be punished. And then they walk out, they do what they want to do, and they come back home, and then you're like, well, I didn't like what you did, but just make sure you don't do it again. No, don't promise them a beating that you're not willing to give tomorrow. And I don't mean physically you have to beat them, but don't tell your child, I'm not going to accept that, and then tomorrow you accept it, because you're not helping them to be that better person. Also, being responsible as a parent, when we're going to talk to our children, we have to be firm, consistent, but we also have to be respectful. And I know that a lot of people might not agree with me, but it has worked with me. And I'm telling you guys, you can't sit there and expect your kids to be respectful to you if you're not respectful to them. Now, I don't mean if you told your child, be here at 3 and they show up at 5 and that's okay, and you punished them or you took something away from them or you let them know, hey, consequences. Because in their choices of life, there's either good or bad consequences. Always. So we have to let them know. If you decide that you're going to come after the curfew that I gave you, then you got to deal with the consequences. And you have to let them know what the consequences are. And it's okay. But it's very hard for me where I hear parents sometimes talk to their kids as the child was a friend. Listen, I love my kids. I think I have a good relationship with them. And there's times that I say things or do things that I have to tell them I'm sorry because it wasn't nice the way I said it. And it's not what I said, it's how I said it. It's not what you mean, it's how you send the message to them. It's the delivery. It's how they receive it. It's important, guys. Just because we're their parents does not give us the right to talk to the kids any kind of way. We have to be mindful and respectful to their feelings as well. So if you want to sit there and have a conversation with your child and talk to them and tell them, this is acceptable and this is not acceptable, do it with respect. They will get it. If you sit there and say, look, if you come home late, I'm going to break your legs. That's not a way a parent should talk to a child. But you could tell your child, these are the consequences and you have a choice. Because that's the way I did it with my children. They knew I meant business. Hey, it's your choice. If I said to do this or be here at a certain time and you decided something else, and it's okay. You know what? It's your choice, but you have a consequence afterwards. Guys, believe me, it works. I was talking to some parents and it was very interesting, the conversation I had. I had a mother. I used to have a group in my house and I really miss my group of youth that I had in my house. And I had a mother say to me, Judy, I got to ask you a question because I just don't know what to do with my daughter. And I said, what's going on? I mean, she comes here and she's very respectful and she's a nice kid. And she goes, yeah, but you know what? She goes to school and she likes to wear skimpy clothes and I don't know what to do with her. And all the time I have to hide it from the father because my husband will get really upset. You just don't understand what I'm going through. And I looked at her. No, you're right. I really don't know. I don't know. And I don't understand what you're going through because I don't think she has a problem. So she looked at me and she says, what do you mean she doesn't have a problem? Well, the problem here is you. You are her mother. You don't like the way she dressed, but who buys her clothes? Because she doesn't work. She's 15. She goes to school, comes home. You work and you pay for her clothes. So what's the problem? Oh, but you don't understand that her friends and the mother of her friends tell me that my daughter does this and does that. So what's the problem? You can't go into her closet and get rid of the clothes that she's getting from her friends or the ones that you're buying that she's either cutting where her stomach is hanging out or it's too short and you can't get rid of them. Your no is your no and your yes is your yes. You are her parent. Stop trying to be her best friend. She doesn't need best friends. She's going to have 1,000 best friends in school. She needs a mother to mother her and say no. Because no is okay. No is our friend. Because that will help your child make better choices. So when you go to the store with her and you say, this is what I want you to wear. This is what you will wear. And when you become an adult, and you're paying your own bills, then guess what? You can buy all the clothes that you want. So I had another mother listen to my conversation. She says, oh, you only say that because you don't have daughters. I said, it doesn't matter. I have sons and there's no different in my house. There's no difference. If I don't want you to wear something or I don't want you to do something while I am aware that you're doing it, you won't be doing it because I'm your parent. I am responsible for you till you become an adult and you're out there on your own making your money and taking care of yourself because I want you to know I have adult children that live with me. And my rules in my home will be respected. It's not a compromise. Now, do I treat my boys like little boys? No, they're grown men. But there might be certain things that I will or will not allow in my home. And I have a right. Listen to what I am saying. I have a right to have my rules and regulations in my home. And the day that my children have their own home and I go visit, then I have to follow their rules. And I have to respect that. It bothers me when people say, oh, but they're adults. You can't rule their life. But I'm not ruling their life. I don't tell them not to go out. I don't tell them not to make certain decisions. I give them that option. But in my house, if there's certain things that I don't like, I'm not going to allow it just because it makes you comfortable. You're living under my home. Yes, this is your home and I want you to be happy. But if we're going to live together, you're going to go by my rules because that's the way it should be. As if I lived in their home and they have their own family, I cannot come in and put rules and regulations that I feel that are correct in their house. I have to respect their rules and regulations when they have their own home. So don't be afraid, parents, to say no or yes to your children. You know, you're helping them be better people in the future. And believe me when I say that. When that lady said to me, well, you don't have daughters and you don't understand. I said, well, you forgot I had 2 nieces that lived with me for a while. And I'm going to tell you a cute little secret about my niece. It's so funny. One of my nieces was going to school. And she was running down the stairs without thinking because she was such in a hurry. She had her pajamas on and she's running down the stairs and she had to be at the bus stop by 6:15. And it was like about 5:55 and she's running down the stairs. And I see her go into the kitchen to get some juice before walking out the door. And I said to her, where are you going? She goes, well, I'm going to school. I got to go to the bus stop. I'm going to be late. Did you look in the mirror? Yes, I was in a hurry, but you know what I have on looks like clothes. She had her pajamas on. You know, nowadays they make these pajamas that look like clothes. And I said, no. You're going to carry your little butt right up the stairs and you're going to change. Because it wasn't acceptable. It was not clothes. But I'm running late. It's okay. Just be late. I'll take you to school. But you will go to school accordingly of the rules of what they want you to look like in the hallways. They don't want you there in pajamas. And she didn't do it on purpose. And she was running late and she wasn't thinking, but because her pajamas looked like clothes. And I know she felt it was unfair, but because of the respect that she has for me, she went up the stairs. And she could have been thinking a whole bunch of things in her head, like, oh my God, my aunt exaggerates. It's okay. She still changed her clothes. And she went to school on time. She actually made it on time. I took her to the bus stop and she got her bus and she went to school. And it was okay. Today she's a mother and she says thank you. She's okay with the decision that I made for her because it was my responsibility. But there's a lot of mothers that will say, I just don't want to be bothered. This girl's going to make me late to work and she's going to be late to school. Just go in your pajamas. Pajamas were made for you to be home or to go to sleep and hang out at home, not to be in the street. So if I would have let her do that, I'm telling her it's okay when your boss says you have to be here at 7 o'clock and you just show up at 7:30 because you decided that's what you wanted to do. I'm not showing her responsibility. I think that she's very thankful today that I showed her you got to be responsible now, starting now. So it's okay to say no to your kids' parents. And just talking about yes and no with responsibilities, this goes to our relationships as well. You know, if you're married or you're engaging into a serious relationship and you're thinking of marriage, one of the things that is very important, don't do anything to make your marriage to make your marriage or your relationship better just because you think that other person wants you to do that. You got to be true to yourself. You have to be true to that person. If you don't like saying or doing things or going certain places, you got to be honest. And if there's certain things that you do want, you have to be honest and say, yeah, I kind of like to do this, although you don't like to, but I would like to share this time with you. And it's very important for your relationship. It's very important to be honest. And it goes back to your character of who you are. If you're just pleasing that other person, I'm going to give you a perfect scenario. Speaking to a friend of mine, and she had a date with a friend. They're getting to know each other. And he told her, be ready at 6 because I'm going to be at your house at 6. We're going to go visit a friend and then we're going to go to dinner. Well, 6 o'clock came, 6:30 came, 7:15 came, no phone call. So she decided, let me call my friend and let me see what's going on. And she said, well, listen, hey, 7:15, you said you would be here at 6 and I'm waiting for you. He says, you know what? The plans changed and I'm sorry. I got hungry. I ate. I hope you're not dressed and waiting for me. And I said to her, what did you say back to him? She said, I told him, okay, I'll just go ahead and eat something, Yay, what can I do? Plans change. And I said, you know what? You disrespected yourself. I'm not even upset at him. You disrespected yourself. First of all, you made plans with someone. That's your time. You need to respect your time. You disrespected yourself because you didn't let that person know, you know what? You could have called me earlier and I could have gone to dinner with someone else. Or I could have went and got, it's just like I was telling my friend, and I was trying to make her understand that she disrespected herself, because it's very important for you to tell people the truth. Listen, I'm not happy. You made me wait for an hour and a half. I was dressed. I did my hair. I did my makeup. I'm sitting here. I'm hungry because you promised me to take me to dinner and now you don't show up. It would have been nice if you would have told me ahead of time that you got busy and you couldn't take me. Whatever the case may be. But what's so sad about the situation is she didn't think to tell him that because she wanted him not to feel bad, but yet she felt bad. So that means that if she doesn't realize what she's worth as a woman, as a person, we can't get upset with the guy that left her there. Because how can he know what she's worth if she doesn't know what she's worth? And that's one of the other things that we will be talking about in our next podcast, about your worth. How important you are. When God created you, he had one mold. He created you perfect in his image. You're the only one that exists with that particular DNA of his, perfect. So you need to see yourself that way. You need to see yourself, your worth, so other people can respect you and other people can see that about you. Because if you don't see that about you, you can't expect others to see that. And when I was explaining that to her, it made her think about it. And she goes, you're right. I can't be upset at him. I said, no, you need to be very clear. And at the moment that it happened, you can talk to him about it now and tell him, look, I thought about it and I realized I cheated myself out of telling you the truth. So I can't be upset with you anymore, but don't ever do that to me again, because that's not acceptable. Nobody is worth taking, stealing your worth from you. But guess what, guys? If you allow it, then you can't complain about it later. And that's the important thing. So remember, guys, your yes is your yes and your no is your no. Always remember what you're worth. So look me up on Facebook, guys, because the next podcast is going to be super nice. Hey, you can write me little messages on Facebook because I will read them and we can discuss it the next time. Don't forget to bring your coffee. You can bring your little hot chocolate if you want as well. But I want my coffee definitely. This coffee is so good. So have a great evening. I'll catch you guys later on. Bye.